तानसेन बनने से पहले कानसेन बनो. Without reading a book, if you start writing, you are in a fantasy world. Plan out your work and work out your plan. So there's one formula that I learned. If you want to be a writer, the only thing you should know is writing.
Welcome to this amazing episode of Chanakya Unscripted with my mentor, with my guru, India's #1 business author, author of 21 best-selling books, Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai. Thank you so much. Such a blessing to shoot this podcast. Sir, you've written 21 books. How was this journey? I'm very curious to know.
In fact, I'm feeling very blessed, Mansi, that I'm going to be talking about my 21 books. Yes. In fact, the number itself is amazing. I never thought I will write one book.
Wow.
And suddenly 21 books, and interestingly I'm writing 2 more books.
Oh.
So hopefully, maybe I'll touch bigger numbers. But I want to tell you that, it's a surprise for me. But the real success is that every book has gone to become a bestseller.
Yes.
And as you said, the audience wants, the readers want more book. So I think I'm blessed. It's like an actor, जिसका हर movie अच्छा चल रहा है, and audience is demanding more.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think it's only because of Chanakya's grace and of course students like you and audience like all of you who are reading these books. Thank you so much.
Okay. So you mentioned in your workshops that a book is forever. So was this the inspiration behind writing the books?
So I will tell you, I've been always reading books from my childhood. My parents, my teachers always encouraged me to read books. And most of the books I read were either spiritual in nature or they were autobiographies. And when I started looking at a pattern, I realized many of them are not alive.
Oh.
So मतलब कि व्यक्ति चला गया, लेकिन उसका काम रह गया. For example, one of the biggest books that has influenced mankind, not only Indians, is Autobiography of a Yogi.
Yeah.
Or even Gandhiji's autobiography, My Experiments with Truth. So I never met Paramahamsa Yogananda, who wrote the book Autobiography of a Yogi, or Mahatma Gandhi. Now then there's one thing, वो तो चले गए, लेकिन इनका काम रह गया.
Correct.
And I've been always deeply influenced by Chanakya himself, as all of you know. Now, I never met Chanakya, but what is common among all these people who inspired me was their books are there. So as you rightly pointed out, जैसे आपने बताया कि a book is forever. व्यक्ति चले जाने के बाद भी उसका काम रह जाता है. And if you look at the English culture, the British culture, their father of books is Shakespeare. जिसके बारे में हमने बहुत सारे ड्रामास पढ़े हैं, उनके बारे में पढ़ा है स्कूल्स में. But nobody has seen Shakespeare in this generation.
Correct.
But the reality is that book is forever. इसलिए मैं चाहता हूँ कि सब लोग बुक लिखें. Everybody should write. Many people ask who's going to read my book. I always say that's not your problem. So when I started writing the first book, I also had this self-doubt. Who will read my book? But today after 21 books also people are reading. That means a book will last you. आप जाने के बाद भी आपकी किताब रह जाएगी.
Wow, okay. So you've read so many books, okay? So as an author, how many books minimum a person has to read before they, start their author journey?
It is said if you want to be a good singer, you should be first a good listener.
Absolutely.
तानसेन बनने से पहले कानसेन बनो.
Wow.
So in the same way, anything that you do, there are always experts in that field. You should learn from them. Okay. So let me tell you, personally speaking, before I wrote my book, I have been reading a lot since my childhood. I have a personal collection of 7,000 books.
7,000 books?
That's my personal collection which I own. But in my lifetime, till now, I must have read around 10,000 books.
Sir, any particular concept or any particular genre of book that you read?
So many of you must be aware of this word called as alcoholic. जिसको दारू की आदत लग जाती है, every day he wants a peg. I'm a bookaholic. So every day I want a book to be read. And if you look at it, it is so contagious that I don't stop reading books. If I have got 10 minutes extra, I read a book.
Wow.
And of course I watch videos now. But the thing is that I got into the habit of reading books, and I tell you, for those people who want to write a book, the minimum formula is to read 100 books.
Before they start their first book?
So I will say 100 is a big number.
Okay.
So at least read few books, 10 books. You get a flavor of it.
Absolutely.
If you read others' books, you'll be able to see that your own book is getting better. उदाहरण के लिए अगर आपको मूवी बनानी है, all directors watch lot of movies.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a podcaster, you have to listen to others' podcasts also.
Absolutely.
इसलिए minimum या maximum नहीं होता, but without reading a book, if you start writing, you are in a fantasy world. You think you'll become a best-selling author. You will never become. You have to read the bestsellers to become a bestseller.
Okay. So does this mean that reading is equal to research, or research is something different when you aspire to write a book?
So reading is part of research,
Oh, okay, okay.
but research is a different ball game. And since I'm also heading institution Mumbai University, which you are part of, Mansi.
Yes, sir.
So I always tell this that okay, research has got three basic pillars. One is reading.
Yeah.
Second is meeting the experts and interviewing them. So as you saw, we tell people to go and interview people
Yeah.
because research is getting insights from the real life.
Okay.
And the third in today's generation is also watching videos.
Yeah.
So let's say you want to do something about, let's say, artificial intelligence. You want to do research on it. There are a lot of books available, papers available. That's reading. But if you get a person who's already working in the artificial intelligence field, you go and meet him or her. You get insights. The third important thing is that today there are a lot of videos available, courses available. So reading is one part of research, but only reading is not research.
Okay, okay. So reading is different from research.
But reading is included in research.
It's a part of research, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, after research, when the author starts writing, so what do you advise? You should write every day, or you should write on weekends, or as per your productivity. What is that concept?
So I will tell you, it all depends on your personal and particular time management. Because everybody's schedules are different. So if you look at two broad categories, I would say the males and the females.
Yeah.
Okay. The women, especially who are married, they have a lot of commitment for their houses, for their children, for their family. And if you look at males, their time management is different. So I would say that it depends on many factors. But the reality is that if you want to write a book, you will have to be good in time management. So I know of ladies who have written books, but they would write it in the afternoon. Because घर का काम थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. The family members have moved out of the house, the children have gone to school. So for them, the afternoon time is very important as a free time. For somebody who is working, he or she may write in weekends, or maybe in the mornings or in the evenings. So there is no hard and fast rule. What is your time convenient to you? When you are mentally free, when you are creative, you can imagine. So I would say that whatever be your phase of life, you should find out that block where you are completely engrossed in writing. So it depends on the individual.
So how do you manage your time? I mean, I have seen you heading the institute, the university. You are giving keynotes, you are taking online sessions, you are writing multiple books, you are giving mentoring, coaching to a lot of directors and leaders. How do you find time?
So time is never found because everybody has only 24 hours. सबके 24 घंटे ही होते हैं दिन में. You should know your priorities.
Wow.
And if you slowly understand priorities, time management becomes easy. Like as you rightly pointed out, there are many things I do. Writing a book, then of course mentoring my students, mentoring a lot of business houses, keynotes. I travel at least 20 days a month. If you look at it today also,
Yeah.
I just came back from outside Mumbai. I was in Delhi for a meeting with the Niti Aayog. And tomorrow I'm going to Ahmedabad.
Wow.
I come back, then I go to Shirdi for a day. I come back for 2 days, then I go to Kerala and come back. So this month, actually I have traveled 5 cities and 20 days.
Wow.
And let me tell you the other side of the story. I'm simultaneously writing 2 books.
This is amazing. I have no words to say. I mean, how do you find time? Again, I'm still
So you have to
wondering.
make out your time. For example, the 2 books that I'm writing,
Yeah.
I've already designed the whole plan. How many chapters, how many hours, how many words. Like today, before I go to sleep, okay, tomorrow morning I have to go to Ahmedabad. I will write 1 chapter.
Okay.
And I know that 1 chapter will take me half an hour to write.
Oh,
So before I sleep, come what may, I will write that half an hour. But let me tell you, once I go home, there are other priorities of the family also. So you should know that half an hour is important for me. Certain times I write for 3 hours
At a stretch?
at a stretch.
Wow.
And therefore I always say this, it is not the time, but how you manage the time. In fact, I have written books at airports. Just take up the laptop and type. I have written books even in universities when I have free time. I have written books at home, I have written books in office. So you have to decide. So the simple formula that I follow is plan out your work and work out your plan.
Wow. So, sir, you said you're writing 2 books simultaneously. Now, my next question to you is, what is the average time to complete a book?
So the average time depends on the size of the book. Would be anything from 50 to 70 hours
Per book?
per book.
Okay, okay.
Because a generally decent book would be around 50,000 words.
Okay.
That's how the count is.
Yeah, yeah.
50 to 70,000. And my speed, I don't write a book with pen and paper. I plan on pen and paper, but I type. So I can write 1,000 words in an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the typing speed being good, I'm blessed.
Okay.
So my calculation is very simple. That's 50 to 70 hours. Now you decide whether you got half an hour per day or 1 hour or 3 hours per day.
Okay.
So let's say on an average, let's say I want to write for 1 hour a day. I have to take out that 1 hour from my 24 hours.
Correct.
But if I do it consistently, disciplined for 50 hours, that is 50 days, my book is ready.
Wow.
So you have to be good in maths
Correct.
and number calculation. I'm not telling you have to be good in mathematical equations of your school, but get your basics right. So like when we're doing this particular shoot, I know it's going to be half an hour.
Yeah.
My mind is already thinking after half an hour, kya karna.
Wow.
So if you want to write a book, you should be planning your number of hours. Maybe your speed is only 500 words an hour. That's okay.
Okay.
I also started very slow. So maybe you have to plan for 100 hours. And don't worry, if you do it consistently every day, it's easy. So if you look at 50, sometimes I make an extra plan also. So 60 hours a plan.
Okay.
So every day if I write, that means according to numbers, I should be able to complete a book in 2 months.
Okay.
60 days.
60 days.
So 2 books a year is very easy for me.
Okay.
But I have written 5 books in 1 year also.
Wow. So you have been, really blessed, I would say. You're working with amazing publishers. But sir, as an aspiring author, there's a confusion. Should we go for a self-publishing, or should we go for published authors? So how do you decide on that? It's a big confusion for all aspiring authors.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Mansi, because what happens is the first time authors may not have too many choices.
Yeah.
Okay. Ideally, everybody wants to go with the biggest publishers.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you may not be fortunate enough. It's like a first time actor wanting to do the first film with Yash Raj Films or a Dharma production in Bollywood.
Yeah.
Okay, or maybe some big actor like Rajnikant in South. That's an aspiration. And some people are lucky also to work with such big brands. But what if you are not able to get it? I would say that, it doesn't matter whether you're a big publisher or small publisher. Start your book. So there are 3 options: the big publishers, the small publishers, and the third is self-publishing.
Okay.
So I've been fortunate that all my books have been with the biggest publishers. So let's say Jayco, they're India's among the number 1. Rupa, they're also number 1. Both these companies are 75 years old.
Yeah.
Then I have Random Penguin Book House, the world's number 1. World's number 1, not India's number 1. Then I have done a book with Amazon, Audible, and I am now doing books with Penguin, which are children's books. So I've been fortunate. But doesn't matter. I always say whether you got the big brands or small brands. Like Ranveer Singh getting the opportunity to do his first film with Yash Raj, Band Baja Bharat. But remember one thing, first book is only a grace of God. But the second, third and fourth book is where your success really matters. So I would say that, if you have written a book or want to write a book, that is the publishers come second.
Okay.
Whether you really convince them to write. A lot of people get publishers but still they don't write. So publishing, whatever be the format, big, small or even self-publishing, please publish a book. But be convinced that you have a story to tell the world.
Okay. So you spoke about Amazon, Flipkart. Now because post-pandemic things have changed into online. So as an aspiring author or anybody who wants to be a bestseller, how should they, plan the marketing? Like, is it offline? Is it online? What do you suggest?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
Okay, because when I did my first book, Corporate Chanakya, this was in the year 2010, which is almost 11-12 years ago.
Yeah.
That time there was no online.
Yeah.
Online I was just entering. But today if you look at the budgets, they're all shifting to online.
Yeah.
Be it YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn ads is becoming very popular. Or Instagram ads. So this never existed. But I always say that, it's a mix of physical and digital.
Okay.
So suppose you've written a book. You have to be online, and online doesn't mean only spending money. Every day, 3 to 4 hours, you have to check the comments, reply to them, look at the post, likes, what people say. So that feedback is important. So you may create a video, you may create some posters, but you have to be on it. But let me tell you, if you don't do physical events, you are missing out on a bigger crowd.
Okay.
So I would say physical. Suppose you do an event, a book launch physically. You can capture the pictures and videos that can also go online.
Correct.
So there are 2 different audience. So like a movie having an OTT platform also and a theatrical release also. So मैं कहता हूँ कि जब आप plan करो तो 50% online and 50% offline. A lot of people do this confusion. Only offline is not good. Only online is also not good. So try both. Like why I do all of them. So this podcast is online, but you may actually go and buy a physical book later on.
Okay.
Or you may come for a book launch also.
Okay. So we have seen you doing a lot of book launches. How do you plan this?
So बहुत अच्छा सवाल पूछा आपने मानसी जी. So I plan all my releases in advance. और मेरा एक बहुत अच्छा टीम है जिसमें आप भी हो, सब लोग मिलकर प्लान करते हैं. एक आपको एग्जांपल दूंगा. मेरा जो तीसरा बुक था चाणक्य इन यू, we sat down and said कि in one calendar year we'll do 100 launches. 100. And उस जमाने में ऑनलाइन नहीं होता था, सब फिजिकल होता था. You'll be surprised. We planned it so well. We spoke to lot of places. जैसे बुक स्टोर्स है, कॉलेजेस हैं, कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेस है, एवरीबडी इनवाइटेड अस. एंड बाय द एंड ऑफ दैट 1 year वी हैड 118 लॉन्चेस. तो पूरा टीम ने काम किया. एंड द इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट इज दैट बुक चाणक्य इन यू actually got the business book of the year award, and the maximum readers were actually college going youth. So if you make launches in a planned way, not one or two, एक दो तो ठीक है. I believe personally interacting with the audience and the readers is very important. So bookstores came to help, the organizers came to help, और हमारा team. So ये सब करके launches plan करते हैं.
Okay. Sir, in the workshop you teach us that relationship building is very important as an author.
Yes.
Be it with the salesman or with the publisher or with the audience. That was a very interesting point because this is something which is very insightful.
Yeah.
So why do you emphasize on that?
So I will tell you there are 4 pillars to make any book a bestseller.
Yeah.
The author himself or herself should have the drive कि मेरा book बहुत अच्छा है.
Yeah.
It's like a mother, Mother is always convinced about the potential of the children. So अगर आप convinced नहीं हो आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. But there are 3 more pillars. The second one is the publisher. The third is the bookstore. And the fourth is the readers. And what I believe is that if I'm good in writing, it is because the publisher makes it better. I've written with 7 publishers and I know everybody personally. Publishing house is a big unit which consists of publisher, editor, illustrator, cover designer, salesman. So I go and talk to all of them. Third is bookstores, because today online Amazon is there, Flipkart is there, but I know the people in Amazon and Flipkart personally. I go and meet them. Bookstore like Crossword is there. So many other bookstores across India. In South we have a bookstore called as Sapna Bookstores. I know the owner personally. I go to every bookstore, talk to the salesman, they like it. Think about a salesman in a Crossword store. Morning to evening, he is sitting there, nobody appreciates him. You go and say, thank you for selling my book. Believe me, that's a great appreciation. Because when somebody comes to buy a book, the salesman tells you, ye book kharid lena. So they are the one. And the fourth and the most important factor is the readers. Readers also are very, very essential. तो उनसे बात करना. So you said it rightly. Without relationship, your books can't sell. And please understand, there are more than 2,000 people involved in making a book a bestseller. So you cannot meet all of them, but at least respect all of them. That's how you appreciate and they will respond back.
Wow, so insightful. So I have a very interesting question for you. So when you started writing, what were the challenges that you faced?
So many challenges. Especially when the first time hota. The first challenge is self-doubt. We always have this doubt ki whether my book will do well, whether people will appreciate. It's like again, first time you are writing a board exam. Even though you are the best student, there will be a self-doubt. Like the first movie of an actor, first time actor. There's always a doubt whether the movie will do well. So that is always there. The second problem is that, apart from knowing that you are good, you are not sure about the success of the book. So self-doubt whether it do well. And second is that, let's say the first book doesn't do well. A lot of people lose confidence. But I say don't worry. In fact, one of my very popular friends is Amish Tripathi. Not many people know that first book did not do well.
Oh.
Second book, it's third book that did well.
Oh.
And all the 3 books started doing well.
Yeah.
So the doubt whether it will do well. So don't worry about it. Don't be in the mindset that I'm alone in the journey. No. Your book will do well not for you. If your book does well, the publisher also does well. The money is also earned by the book selling store. So you are not alone in the journey. So don't doubt yourself. But if you have faith in yourself, faith in God and your content, the book will definitely do well.
Okay. So out of the 21 books, which is your favorite book?
First baby, Corporate Chanakya. And the last baby, Chatur Chanakya.
Okay.
Both have common, CC. Corporate Chanakya, Chatur Chanakya. They're 2 different audience. Corporate Chanakya was for the corporate world, as many people know. It's a management book.
Yeah.
It has taken me to 22 countries. So I've been very fortunate. But the latest book is my favorite because it's reaching a youngest generation. In schools it is very popular. Principals and teachers are promoting it. So Shadab Chanakya is a character. Very soon you will see. We already written 2 series and there are many more coming.
Okay.
So I think if you ask a mother which is a favorite child, all children are equal. Lekin first child made me a mother, right?
Yes.
The first book made me an author, but I still love all my books.
So did you ever imagine, corporate Chanakya will finish 10 years and 10 years throughout best-selling books? So, wow.
It's all God's grace. But when I look back, I said it's not only my book, it is Jayco's book. It is a book of Indian culture. It is a book where, teachers are very proud. In fact, yesterday I was in Delhi. I was having a meeting with the team of Niti Aayog. Can you believe that even the Prime Minister has read the book? So it feels, and he doesn't read the book because of Radhakrishnan Pillai. He reads the book because of Chanakya. So I personally find that, it's a book that has made Indians proud of their culture. So that's a success.
Wow. And so how many books do you aspire to write?
I don't know. I would say I believe in my theory of Karma Yoga. Keep
Yes.
doing your work.
Yes.
So 21 books हो गए और 2 किताब लिख रहा हूँ. So 25 is a normal number. If God wishes, I can write many more. But I always believe that the demand has to also come from the audience and the readers. So if you want to read the books and if you love my books, I'll keep writing more books.
Absolutely. So you work with so many different publishers. How do you maintain that relationship?
It's easy in today's world. A simple WhatsApp, a thank you also matters. I believe that I personally update my publishers of what I'm doing and vice versa.
Wow.
Initially, you have to meet people, spend time to build relationship. That is always the best option. But kabhi-kabhi ek message, ek phone call. Like, my publishers are across India and some of my publishers are outside India also.
Yeah.
Like Random Penguin Book House. Can you believe it? I have been to London to meet them once.
Wow.
So sometimes one good meeting can be a lifetime of experience. So छोटा सा मैसेज डालने में भी रिलेशन बनता है, मिलने से भी रिलेशन बनता है, फोन करने से भी रिलेशन बनता है. But you have to spend effort, time and remember them. So I have a list of publishers. I keep them updated, talk to them, meet them, maybe send a small gift from time to time.
Wow. And so your one serious advice for all aspiring authors?
Write. There is no better strategy than writing.
Okay.
People say, अच्छा नहीं है, it is not the right time. All this is bakwas, all this is useless. So there's one formula that I learned. If you want to be a writer, the only thing you should know is writing. And fortunately, all of you are literate. लिखने को तो आता है, तो लिखो ना.
Correct.
And details I'll tell you how to write.
Okay. And so the workshop that you were conducting, okay. So what inspired you to start that workshop?
So this workshop is based on a book called How to Write a Book and Make It a Bestseller. In fact, the publisher is Right Place, which is part of Crossword. I remember there's a lot of people used to come to Crossword, a lot of people used to come to me and say, मुझे भी किताब लिखना है. And when I used to listen to them, I realized they have really good content. Somebody wants to write in sports, somebody wants to write his or her life story, somebody wants to write on business, somebody wants to write stories, fiction. I said everybody is God's creation. Why not? But they don't know the process. So we wrote a book and the book itself is a bestseller.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of people say, no, kitab hi pad gayi, but I want to know more. So they used to come and meet me, but then the numbers started growing.
Yeah.
So my team at CAPL, Pranav and everyone said, why don't we do a workshop? We did one workshop, we did 2 workshops, and it was so successful. Half of the participants have become authors. And now after the pandemic, we started doing it online. So this is a time when we are doing it online. It's a 3-day workshop.
Yes.
Only 1.5 hours per day. You will know 3 things. Number 1 is how to write a book. Second is the marketing part of it. And very important, how to work with a publisher. So that's the format.
Absolutely. And I feel so blessed that when this workshop was launched, I was one of the first students to attend that.
Yes.
And it's also as grace. Thank you so much
Thank
for that
you.
opportunity. So my last and final question for you. Any publisher that you decide, okay, and then if you get any better opportunities, what do? Do you continue working with the publisher or do you switch that?
So my formula has been very simple. Never discontinue a publisher. A lot of people do one book and they move to another one.
Yeah.
But what I do is that I work with the first publisher and the second and the third and the seventh.
Okay.
I don't leave the first one.
Okay.
Like for example, my first book, Corporate Chanakya, was with Jayco. Then of course I've done with Rupa, I've done with Random Penguin Book House, but I've never left Jayco. So with Jayco I've done 7 books and I still continue writing with them. So maintain relation with the old and the new, but don't forget the old. So सबके साथ काम करो.
Okay. This was Chanakya Unscripted for all of you. I hope you all have learned a lot from today's podcast. You can imagine that these 30 minutes you've learned so much. So what all you will be learning in the 3 days workshop. If you want to enroll for the workshop, we are giving the link in the description. And also don't forget to like, share and subscribe and share this video with a lot of aspiring authors, and wish you all the best.